How do I, F28, tell my husband, M33, that I want a divorce? I'm miserable. So miserable. We used to be really happy, and like each other. Since our daughter was born, everything has changed. She's almost a year old, and he's yet to do anything to help with her. He sleeps in a different room to me, and the baby, she's still in my room, so he's never done a night feed, or rocked her back to sleep, or anything like that. He doesn't sort her meals, her bottles, he doesn't do laundry or clean the house, he sits on his ass constantly and just plays on his phone. No matter how much I say I need help with everyday things, he always says he'll change but doesn't. We argue every single day. He's self-employed, works constantly and still brings home hardly anything. What he does earn, he takes for petrol in the car, vaping, and tattoos. This has been ongoing for years. He has a job for a bit then gets fired and doesn't do anything for a while until he goes to the next thing. For 6 years I've single-handedly been financially responsible for every single thing. All the bills, the rent, etc. is all down to me. We're in a lot of debt, and I pay my own as well as his too. And obviously now we have a child, I'm also doing all the parenting. I do 99% of her care, and he maybe gives her a bottle once every so often. His patience is awful, and his attitude is worse. He constantly believes I'm cheating. If I'm on my phone he wants to know exactly who I'm texting and what we're talking about. It isn't because he's interested, it's because he thinks it's someone else. I want to divorce, and be free. I'm already doing everything alone, so it makes no difference. I feel like I'm trapped though. He has nowhere else to go. If I ask him to move out, he can't afford to get a place of his own. The house we live in is owned by my father, and every bill etc. is in my name, so I'm not leaving. Doesn't matter what we say, he thinks we're happy. He can't take the hint I'm miserable and wish he'd go away. Despite it all I want him to be okay moving forward, and I'm worried about hurting his feelings saying I'm done. I'm worried about custody, and his family, who don't like me anyway, and the impact of that too. I'm worried the opinions of everyone else with this. And I don't even know how to say I'm done. I've been trying for 6 months to tell him, but he says he'll change and things will be different. I don't know how to do it, but I know I need to. I'm sorry this is a lot of rambling, just feel like I'm at breaking point with life in general. Mental health isn't great, and I need to escape. I don't want to keep trying to make this work when I don't feel anything towards him but resentment. Edit, in response to the constant "why did you have a kid with him" comments, because I'm obviously an idiot and I've ruined her life already by dragging her through this. I don't need the reminders that I'm a shit mother, I'm already aware. I'm trying my best for her and she's always first. I'd have started this process months ago, but I'm afraid of him. Alright? I've filed for a divorce. Hand papers. Or have your lawyer do it themselves. You've described someone who is only dragging you down. The longer you wait to dump this loser, the longer you'll hurt. And talk to lawyer before the husband. Yes, please do this. They will know how to best approach this. I'd arrange for male family meme bears or even the police to be there when this goes down. And file for sole custody. Not only dragging her down, but not caring at all that he's doing it. And if you ever have even the slightest idea he'll hurt you, don't do anything in person. Followed by "get the F out of my house." Don't do that without advice from your lawyer. In a former life I worked in a family law firm and saw this all the time. Generally you can't just force your spouse out of the marital home. Even if he's a freeloading loser who has never paid a bill. It's stupid and it sucks, but it's the law. Op should talk to a lawyer before doing anything. Thank you. These kick them out responses aren't realistic. Give him a list of responsibilities and tell him to start doing them all, or you are going to consider divorce. Make many of his jobs taking care of his child. Do a schedule and a big chart. You and I are certain he will probably not do these things. This will give you time to talk to a lawyer and prepare to separate. At which time you have the divorce discussion. Yeah, no, don't do that. Depending on the jurisdiction she lives in, she may need to go through the proper process to evict him. They're married, so he does likely have rights here, regardless of whether he has a financial stake in the home itself. A local lawyer will be able to advise upon how to get this ass out of her house as quickly as possible, but chances are it's really not as simple as get out if he would end up homeless. Op needed to lawyer up a long time ago, but it's good she's doing it now. Edit. Judging from the use of petrol, they're in the UK, and yes, from my understanding Op cannot simply tell him to get out or deprive him of access to the property. She'll land herself in hot water if she tries. If she does, it's a simple matter of him getting a court order to force her to allow him access to the property, as, this being a matrimonial home, from my understanding, he has home rights. He may or may not also be able to get police to help him regain access to the property in an emergency. In order to kick him out, she needs to file an occupation order. The laws were originally put into place to provide Sams with legal protection against being kicked out, but of course it does go both ways. Though again, I'm sure a lawyer would tell her that the marital home is a special exception. You legally cannot evict the other party, no matter what TV makes you believe. Everything you bought together is joint property and requires legal financial disclosure. A court won't order shit unless a separation agreement has been signed by both parties with legal advice, especially with a child in the picture. From someone who can appreciate from personal experience a lot of what you say above. You've tried to communicate your needs. He's had his chances. You say he's been like this for years. If he hasn't changed by now, he isn't going to. Not in this relationship, anyway. This relationship is not a partnership. You are roommates, and you are taking care of everything. You're a single parent in a marriage with two parents. You deserve better. Of course he doesn't think there's an issue, he has it easy. You take care of everything and he likes it that way. The above point said, I honestly doubt he is actually happy. He's probably just comfortable enough to keep going. Don't worry or be guilt-tripped about where he would go if you divorced, how he would feel, etc. That's a false flag that keeps you in a situation that isn't healthy, for reasons that are selfish for the other person. Don't worry about what others will think of you get divorced. They don't have to live in the marriage that makes you miserable. They don't have a dog in this fight, period. Where do you go from here? My advice would be to quietly talk to an attorney. Get your ducks in a row. Plan out with your attorney what the next 6 to 18 months may look like. Let a trusted friend or family member who can keep quiet know what's going on, so you have someone you can call if you need help ASAP. Make sure you and baby are stay safe. Do not stay together for the baby. Your relationship is not healthy, which means it is not good for your child, either. As a person who was stuck as a child in a household with parents who should have split long before they did, please don't use the child as an excuse not to leave. Best wishes to you, Op. My father treated my mother, and us, like crap growing up. My mother later confessed to me that she didn't leave him because we needed a father. I suffered through a lot of crap, including relationships where I was not respected because that is what I was conditioned to do by experience and example. So, when in doubt, I suggest this meditation: do I want my daughter to end up in relationships that mimic the one I am in now? She will if I stay with him. This is amazing advice truly. Rest assured, my baby deserves better than to be stuck in the middle. Exactly. You are already essentially a single mother, so your life is not going to change all that much after the divorce, except you will have more room in your house and one less parasite to clean up after. Don't let your concern for him stop you from filing for divorce and doing what's best for you. People who are perpetual users will always find some way to get their needs taken care of when they've drained their current victim. I guarantee you this guy will be living at some chick's house in 2 weeks flat. He'll be fine. Even if he's not, his well-being is no longer your concern. Nothing is stopping him from going out and getting a real job. File for divorce and don't look back. And do not allow him to stay in the home. Listen to you/Majestico, it sparkles, it's sound advice. Especially the don't just tell him you want one. Be sure to have met with an attorney and provide any evidence as to how you have supported the family for 6 years, and any pertinent information. Make sure you have a plan and papers ready. Don't give him the opportunity to initiate it based on you telling him you want one. You have already been a single parent the past year, to 2 children. You and your baby deserve better. My parents tried to stay together for the kids, so I grew up watching their relationship messily deteriorate for years. It took a toll on my mental health and ability to navigate healthy relationships, even decades later. I wish my folks had ended things earlier, for everyone's sake, before their bitter dysfunction became my primary model of familial love. Now whenever someone tells me they've gotten divorced, I say congratulations. Also, he can't be happy either, surely, being in debt, and not connecting with the people you live with. If you're ever worried that you might be hurting him, which to be fair you are owed so much more, then know that you will at least be firm on not enabling him. To add on, as your child grows they will see your relationship with their father as a model for future relationships. This can likely also doom your kid to a similar future. If anything, get out for the well-being of your child. I just want to add to the last point. I see a lot of advice from people whose parents should have gotten a divorce but stayed together for the kid. They always advise against it. I am a kid whose parents should have divorced, and did. I do not remember them together at all. They separated when I was 2/3. Growing up I was thrilled they were divorced, literally preferred it. Just perspective of the other side, I also 100% recommend not staying for the kid. They will be happier for it. I fear you have married my ex. Talk to a lawyer first. I tried to talk to him and gave him a month to find a job and a place. That turned into 4 months, with excuse after excuse. I was so miserable and would avoid him as best I could while still caring for my kiddo. I finally stopped caring where he would go, he just needed to go. Lawyer helped with everything, got him out, he moved in with his parents states away, and literally never saw his child again. Not because of court order initially, he just can't do anything that requires planning or responsibility. So prepare yourself for that, but I'll tell you I'm much happier with that outcome. You're on the right track. I finally told myself if I was going to do everything myself, I may as well do it by myself. Just get it going and get a good lawyer so he can't manipulate you, everything will be legally on the up and up. Just remember that your lawyer is fighting for you, so don't deny their advice because you don't want to be seen as mean. Your lawyer will fight for fair, which isn't mean. Your lawyer has no emotional ties here, so they can see the whole picture, they are a better judge than you. If your lawyer says give him 30 days notice to get out, give him 30 days with legally binding documentation, and don't worry where he will go. That is his issues to solve, and he will manipulate you into extending if you let him, which means he doesn't have to make an effort to solve it. Listen to your lawyer. They want what is best for you and kiddo. I'm stressing this because this is advice I wish I would have taken. Also, stop worrying what others will think. They don't have to live with him or deal with him, so they can think whatever they like. Do what's best for you and kiddo. All of this. And I would add, when you draft divorce papers, get eviction papers drawn up too. Since this is your dad's house, have them come from him as the property owner. I would pack bags for you and your daughter and find somewhere else to stay and have someone else, a process server, serve him with the paperwork. Block his number and stay away and get your dad's help getting him out of the property. Also, open new bank accounts in your name only and move all of anything you have into your name. Make sure you are not going to be responsible for any of his debt going forward and stop paying his debts now. They're his, default on them is his responsibility, not yours. You are paying far too much attention to his needs, and too little to yours and your daughter's. He has not given any consideration to you and your needs for a very, very long time, and almost zero to those of your daughter during her short life. His behavior is that of a narcissistic, self-absorbed, manipulative, man-child. He is milking you for everything he possibly can, and he gives you and your daughter absolutely nothing. He doesn't really give a shit about either of you except as far as he can get you to keep providing him with what he wants and needs. He will never change. He's shown you exactly who he is. Now it's time for you to believe him and get out and away from this relationship. This guy isn't worth one more second of your time, nor one more penny from your pocket. I just typed out my reply and it's frighteningly similar to what you have said. So many of us have been in these situations, and it's just awful. In my case, I didn't have children, but I have helped friends through many separations and divorces that did have kids. The sheer number of them that stuck it out for years for the children is staggering. This is such solid advice. A male friend of mine had a 6-month-old and was very much in ops situation. He didn't want to leave BC. It was important to him that the baby have two parents. I asked him, would you rather your child grow up in a home where both parents are miserable and scream at each other / throw things and slam doors? Or have parents that are happy, but just not together? A year later he was living alone, had full custody and was so much happier. 5 years later and he was happily married with another child on the way. Today they are still married, has one kid in college and one starting HS. He told me that it was what I said that woke him up. He'd never looked at it that way. It seems so simple on the outside, but when you're in it. Sounds like me when my kids were little. Just bite the bullet and do it. Tell him exactly what you wrote here, and that you have fallen out of love with him. Ask him if you guys can be amicable during the divorce process or not. He's going to get angry and have lots of emotions, but those are his to work on, not yours. Focus on your baby and move on. Focus on your baby and move on. Focus on your baby and move on.